bet you still remember this legendary sight. A flat belly totally devoid of six-pack abs, a ridiculously tight grey and blue bodysuit, and a yellow utility belt packed with all sorts of bizarre toys. That's right, it's the 1966 Batman the TV masterpiece that turned Adam West into the most troll-worthy icon in superhero history. Our main character is a very responsible Dark Knight who protects Gotham City with punches that literally sprout words like PORBU, ZAM and BIFF. Right by his side is Robin the Boy Wonder and the source of endless holy catchphrases. But the real cringe-worthy highlights have to be the nonsensical gadgets or that surfing competition against the Joker that makes you hit rewind just to ask, wait, why does Batman look so weird? But behind these hilariously entertaining frames lie a ton of behind-the-scenes secrets and strange details that made even the actors break a sweat. Today, we're diving into the top 20 moments that audiences paused the most. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our latest videos. 20. Catwoman's seductive scene. Just imagine the most hilarious yet mesmerizing sight of that era, a shimmering jet-black bodysuit. As Catwoman saunters through the door with a "hello, so sweet," it made every man in the room want to voluntarily put on a leash for her to lead them away. But behind that sleek, glossy exterior was a literal battle. To transform into Catwoman, Julie Newmar had to squeeze into a suit made of ultra-tight knitted lurex, a fabric so unforgiving that she later confessed breathing normally was a luxury. And as for sitting down, forget about it. It was basically a stylish wearable cage. Additionally, did you ever notice Catwoman's golden utility belt? It was actually Julie herself who adamantly demanded the belt be moved down to her hips instead of the traditional waistline. Her goal was crystal clear. She wanted to accentuate that hourglass figure and create a fluid, sultry, cat-like silhouette. And those nimble leaps and graceful bounds were done without a single stunt double, simply because Julie was a professional dancer. 19. The stinky egg battle at the McDonald farm.
Give him a taste of our knuckles, shall we?
If there were an award for the most wasteful food fight in cinematic history, the crown would undoubtedly go to the egg-slinging melee at Egghead's farm. Just imagine the Dark Knight and the Boy Wonder, instead of using elite martial arts or high-tech gadgets, were busy, dodging eggs like they were dodging a curse. Watching those eggs whizzing through the air, I swear Batman looked more like a chef in distress than a superhero fighting crime. Little do people know, Egghead wasn't even in the original comics. He was a character specifically brought to life by horror legend Vincent Price. The hilarious part is that Price loved the role so much he became overly immersed. He frequently pelted his co-stars with real eggs even after the director yelled, "Cut." As a result, under the scorching studio lights, the pungent stench of raw eggs became a horrific olfactory nightmare for everyone involved. Adam West himself once jokingly lamented that for an entire week he felt like nothing more than a walking mobile omelette. 18. Fending off sharks with shark repellent.
Hand me down the shark repellent bat spray!
If we had to vote for the most brainless cinematic moment of all time, the crown would undoubtedly go to the legendary showdown between Batman and a rather over-enthusiastic shark. Let's revisit this classic masterpiece. The Dark Knight is dangling from the rope ladder of the Batcopter when out of nowhere a shark leaps from the ocean and clamps onto his leg. With just a quick blast of white mist from a fire extinguisher, a specialised spray, the shark either poofs out of existence or plummets back into the sea, leaving the audience in absolute disbelief. In reality, this shark actor was just a stuffed prop borrowed from the 20th Century Fox archives. To make it look like it was truly smitten with Batman's calf, the crew had to use steel wire to crank its stiff jaws shut around Adam West's leg. But the peak of the comedy lies on the Batcopter's equipment shelf. Did you catch it? There wasn't just a shark repellent spray, there were also canisters for repelling barracudas, manta rays, and even whales. The writers intentionally created this mobile convenience store to satirise Batman's over-the-top preparedness, a man who truly has a gadget for every possible scenario. 17. Batman's Bad Day.
It's all right, Robin.
Holy heart failure!
Fortunately, I was able to dispose of that bomb in the nick of time and shield myself behind these heavy iron pipes.
It's impossible not to mention the moment Batman runs frantically all over the harbour with something sizzling in his hands. Ironically, everywhere he goes, he hits an obstacle, from mothers pushing strollers and lovers in mid-embrace to a flock of ducks. But Batman refused to throw it into the water just because he was afraid of harming the ducks, proving a heart so kind it was unbelievable. This is considered one of the most classic comedic scenes. To complete this footage, Adam West had to run back and forth under the scorching sun with a fairly heavy prop. This moment has become an immortal meme, a symbol for those days when it seems like the whole world is conspiring against us. 16. The most heartbreaking scene. Catwoman's true identity is revealed. Do you remember this scene from the movie Batman is chasing Catwoman? And boom! He discovers she's actually Kitka, the woman he's in love with. Did you happen to catch the haunting melody playing as Batman gazes at his beloved? The song is titled Plaisir d'amour, and its lyrics translate roughly to, "The joy of love lasts but a moment. The pain of love lasts a lifetime." In this version, Catwoman crafted a sophisticated double life as Miss Kitka, a stunning reporter who successfully charmed the legendary Bruce Wayne. But here is a twist that few people know. At the time, Julie Newmar was sidelined by a back injury and couldn't join the film's production. Lee Merriweather, a former Miss America, stepped into the suit. 15. The Great Surf-Off. Batman vs. the Joker.
Cowabunga! Cowabunga! I won! I won! Batman came in second!
Remember this. On a sun-drenched beach, Batman and the Joker emerge in colourful swim trunks, worn right over their superhero costumes. They grab their boards ready for a high-stakes aquatic duel. Notice Batman's yellow trunks Adam West once shared, that layering two costumes under the California sun was pure torture. It made certain areas look a bit substantial, if you catch my drift. Yet, he had to maintain a stone-cold expression, as if he were attending a world summit. Here's the secret while it looks like they're riding giant swells. West and Cesar Romero were actually standing on boards bolted to wooden platforms in a studio. Behind them was a rear projection screen, and to sell the realism, stagehands threw buckets of water directly into the actors' faces while they struggled to strike heroic surfing poses. 14. The Bat climb, scaling walls, and the famous window cameos.
They
They should be, boy wonder. It's almost Christmas. Ho, 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 ho.
Welcome to Gotham City, Mr. Claus.
You definitely haven't forgotten those scenes of Batman and Robin clutching the bat rope conquering Gotham's skyscrapers. Then, out of nowhere, Santa Claus just pops his head out the window for a chat. In reality, Burt Ward used to complain that this wall climbing was pure torture, because they had to crawl across hard wooden floors in tight costumes for hours just to record a short clip. The duo often ended the shoot with bruised and aching legs. Those window cameos became a signature staple of the series. In fact, A-list stars of the era didn't hesitate to beg the producers just to be featured in that window frame. 13. The Batusi Dance and a Lesson in Civic Duty. Recall the scene at the What a Way to Go-Go nightclub. Amidst flashing lights and upbeat jazz, the Dark Knight suddenly starts partying with total enthusiasm. But here is the funny part. Immediately after the episode aired, the Batusi dance ignited a massive craze. Nightclubs were flooded with people mimicking Batman's famous finger-wagging moves. The band The Markets even released a Batman-themed single that shot straight up the music charts. What's remarkable is that even while grooving to the music, Batman never forgot his mission of civic education. When a girl approached to offer him a drink, he declined with ultimate cool. "Thanks, but I'm on duty." A steely moral lesson right there on the dance floor. Unmistakably, 1966 Batman style. 12. A fishy mayoral election.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Station KGOM is very happy and proud to bring you a debate between the candidates who are running for mayor of Gotham City. I believe the Penguin will lead off the debate.
Recall this scene to stop a plot to take over Gotham through democratic means. Batman was forced to remove his heroic mask and run for mayor himself. This was the height of political satire where promises were mixed with the smell of rotting fish. The writers cleverly embedded ironies about how politicians bribe voters, while the Penguin promised free tea and cookies. Batman solemnly lectured on morality and morning exercise. The legendary actor Burgess Meredith crafted an unmistakable Penguin. His famous quack quack laugh was actually a way to hide a cough caused by cigarette smoke, and during the election scenes he acted so intensely that the prop fish began to smell pungent. Additionally, the crew actually staged real parades on the streets, complete with dancers, bands and signs saying, "Vote for Penguin" or "Batman for Mayor." This actually led locals to believe a real election was happening. 11. The scene where Robin almost became a cake.
I wouldn't want you to make your exits without knowing exactly how it's to be done.
You hateful hussy.
The scene where Robin nearly turns into a literal cake is truly the pinnacle of witty suspense. Recall the moment the boy wonder is strapped to a giant tray covered in flour and butter, slowly sliding into the villain's fiery oven. Burt Ward once shared that this was one of the most terrifying shoots. To create the glowing light from the oven, the crew used high-wattage bulbs. Sweat poured off him under his tight costume, yet he had to struggle to maintain a face of pure terror. Under the sweltering heat, the smell of burnt rubber was horribly putrid, making the whole crew feel like they were lost in a tyre factory. But that was just a small part of Burt Ward's tearful days. Unlike Adam West, the young Burt often had to perform his own stunts without a double. He ended up in the hospital more than a few times due to pyrotechnic mishaps or collisions while climbing ropes. 10. Batman and Robin pull into a drive-in to enjoy some Batburgers and orangeades.
I'm honored by this tribute, miss. 2 Batburgers, medium rare, And 2 glasses of orangeade. Doubles.
Recall the image of the sleek, menacing and weapon-laden Batmobile suddenly pulling into a humble drive-in. Instead of pursuing criminals, the dynamic duo sits patiently waiting for a car hop to approach and take their order. Even in the heat of a mission, Batman remains the quintessential model citizen, never once exploiting his status to solicit a free meal. As they enjoy their quick bite, Batman never misses an opportunity to weave moral lessons for Robin. He might remark on the virtues of a balanced diet, the vital importance of vitamin C in orange juice, or simply the necessity of not littering from the Batmobile to preserve the environment of Gotham City. This represents the pinnacle of the didactic charm unique to Batman 1966, a world where a nutritional lecture can seamlessly interrupt a tactical operation. 9. Bruce interviews himself.
Batman? Yes, Mr. Wayne. Have you heard Mr. Freeze's scurrilous demands? Just briefly. If Robin and I act as go-betweens, are you prepared to make the telecast at midnight and pay the ransom, Mr. Wayne?
Recall one of the most convoluted, yet classic diversion tactics in history. Bruce Wayne staging a fake dialogue between himself and Batman. This is undoubtedly the most peak phone conversation in cinematic history. The hilarity lies in the fact that despite both voices emanating from the exact same throat, Chief O'Hara and Commissioner Gordon stand right there nodding in complete and utter belief. The true charm of the scene is found in Bruce's deadpan seriousness. It was a masterclass performance by Adam West, as he had to pivot his psychology and vocal range in a split second to deceive those eavesdropping on the line. 8th POW Bams Alonk. Recall those vibrant, multicoloured brawls instead of realistic sound effects. We were treated to a visual feast of giant graphic fonts taking over the entire screen. But what led to this strange addition? In reality, American television regulations at the time were incredibly strict. Showing Batman actually punching a criminal in the face could have resulted in the show being immediately red flagged. To bypass the rules, producers came up with a bold idea. Why not use graphic panels to cover the moment of impact? Thus, the radiant POW signs appeared cleverly hiding the fact that the actors weren't actually touching each other at all. Have you ever wondered where wacky words like Zalonk Wham or Zizwok came from? As the writers began to run out of ideas using standard words like hit or punch, they started inventing sounds. 7. The Joker in white laughing with manic abandon.
Come, Stanley! Come, Ernie!
Behold the Joker's symphony of madness. In a departure from his traditional purple suit, the stark white attire serves only to accentuate his garish makeup and that iconic ear-to-ear grin. If you observe this sequence closely, you will catch a legendary detail in cinematic history, Cesar Romero's steadfast refusal to shave. So devoted was he to his trademark moustache that he insisted the makeup artist simply coat it in a thick layer of white grease paint. The result, under the unforgiving studio lights, was a moustache clearly visible beneath the Joker's face paint, lending him a look that was as wonderfully bizarre as it was unforgettable. Romero once shared that he crafted his cackle from high-pitched staccato bursts, creating a manic energy that stands in stark contrast to the brooding, somber iterations of the Joker that would follow. 6. The Batmobile Race. When producer William Dozier needed a car for the movie, he gave a deadline of only 3 weeks. George Barris, Hollywood's famed car modding wizard, seized the chance by buying the only Lincoln Futura in existence at the time for an unbelievable price, exactly $1. Turning it into the legendary Batmobile remains one of the greatest bargains in cinematic history. You must be impressed by the blast of fire every time Batman hits the gas. In reality, that was a gas-powered stove hidden inside the exhaust pipe. In a few shots, the flames shot out so powerfully they nearly turned Adam West's satin suit into a grilled dish right there on the set. 5. The evaporation of the World Security Council.
Success! Success!
They've done it! They've done it!
Success! Success! We've done it! We've done it!
Recall the classic scene from the 1966 feature film. 5 members of the World Security Council suddenly evaporate, leaving piles of brightly coloured dust right in their seats. Those remains were actually just cheap coloured sand and crystal powder bought from craft stores. To create the effect, the crew had to mix in some shiny glitter. Adam West once wittily joked that cleaning up the Security Council after the scene was actually a nightmare. In the script, Batman was extremely worried about these precious piles of dust getting mixed up. An interesting behind-the-scenes detail is that Adam West had to perform the scene holding a test tube with intense concentration. Because if just a light breeze from a studio fan accidentally blew by the fate of the world, would have instantly scattered all over the room. 4. Penguin Protective Agency Incorporated.
This is the most fantastical gimmick in my whole criminal career.
It was one of the most hilariously iconic moments of the first season. In the episode, the Penguin goes straight. The Penguin suddenly claims to have reformed and opens his own security firm called Penguin Protective Agency, Inc. Instead of committing a robbery, the Penguin uses high-tech gadgets to thwart a jewel heist at a high society gala. When Batman and Robin burst in, intending to make an arrest, they end up looking like nuisances harassing a law-abiding businessman. Burgess Meredith, as the Penguin, perfectly captured the gentlemanly persona clad in a tuxedo and top hat, clutching his cigarette holder and wearing a triumphant smirk. 3. The library scene between Batman and the Riddler.
As you can see, Batman, by the deadly weapons we hold, you'd be fools to move.
What are you doing here?
Checking out a book.
Checking out a book.
Do you recall the library brawl between Batman and the Riddler in the episode A Riddle a Day Keeps the Riddler Away? It remains one of the most quintessential action sequences of the 1966 series. Rather than a simple display of brute force, the Riddler transformed the library into a chaotic labyrinth. Frank Gorshin, with his signature hyperactive performance and high-pitched cackle, leaped across reading tables, hurling books as long-range projectiles at the dynamic duo. The crowning touch was the iconic POW, zap, and whack graphics that filled the screen with every punch. Within the hushed sanctuary of the library, the contrast between these vibrant onomatopoeias and the classic wooden bookshelves created a truly delightful visual irony. 2. It is the duty of every good citizen in Gotham City. Batman's classic line when facing this bizarre situation inadvertently became a guiding light for the citizens. Little did anyone know there was a reason behind this scene. The 60s were a time when America was feverish over the space race and the psychological shadows of the Cold War. Embedding the Martian detail was the writer's way of using laughter to soothe the vague fear of things beyond control. Batman, at this moment, embodied a public reassurer. Don't panic over the strange. Just report it according to protocol and everything will be fine. And here is the secret that gave this line its life. West was instructed to deliver it with total seriousness, as if he were reading the Constitution in the most ridiculous setting possible. 1. A monkey's ridiculous artistic talent. Do you remember the moment a monkey almost won first prize in an art competition, outshining actual artists? The crowd gathered around, whispering about the creature's aesthetic vision, while Batman and Robin looked on with pensive expressions. This was a jab from the writers at the abstract art movement booming at the time. Letting a monkey nearly win wasn't just a gag, it was the show's way of questioning the value of art. After the episode aired, several abstract artists in Los Angeles, actually, sent complaint letters to ABC. They claimed the show was insulting the intelligence of the viewers. But producer William Dozier simply smiled and said, "If a monkey can cause a stir among critics, the fault doesn't lie with the monkey, but with the critics." These 20 moments are not just mere entertainment. They are a testament to a cinematic era that was creative and unafraid to be different. Batman 1966 didn't need CGI effects. The film conquered audiences with its sincerity, its sometimes naive moral lessons, and a masterclass in satirical humour. It was the meticulousness in every cheap prop, Adam West's laughably serious lines, and the rare behind-the-scenes mishaps that created an immortal monument in the hearts of fans. Which gadget or scene of the dynamic duo in the list above impressed you the most? Leave a comment so we can look back on the unforgettable memories of Batman's golden age together.